You are listening to the Cricket Corner podcast with me, Vatsal Vora.
Hello and welcome back to the Cricket Corner podcast with me, Vatsal Vora, where for a couple of months we are keeping international cricket aside and we are going to talk about the highly anticipated Indian Premier League. Usually we don't talk a lot about the Indian Premier League before it starts. We usually cover the tournament when the games are in action, when the table is moving up and down all over the place. But I think it was right to preview one team and one team only, which are the defending champions, Chennai Super Kings. Unlike other previews and review stuff, today I am not the only one who is going to talk about a certain team. Today I have one of my closest friends and a big Chennai Super Kings fan himself, Mr. Nachiket Acharya. Nachiket, how are you doing? And before we begin, what is your situation in regard to the pre-ordered jersey? Is it on the way or is it still stuck somewhere in transit?
Well, first of all, thanks a lot for having me. It's been
No
ages
worries.
since we have officially sat and had cricket conversations. So
Yes.
it is a really interesting thing for me personally to talk about Chennai Super Kings. I can go on for days and days.
Yeah.
And secondly, about the jersey, you won't believe just half an hour back I've shooted a mail to the website that when
Yes.
is the jersey coming? Because as you know, I'm going for the Gujarat Mumbai match, but
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going to don a Chennai jersey, as many of them
Right.
will do. I am sure thousands of them will be going over there in a yellow jersey.
I won't be surprised that those two teams playing in Ahmedabad, I think Gujarat and Mumbai both have blue. I still won't be surprised if I see a big pocket of, yellow when the drone shot appears out of nowhere. But that's the craze of Indian Premier League, which we have seen. And it and this talk about yellow leads us perfectly to the first talking point of this podcast. Now, over the past couple of months, we have talked about a legendary 40-year-old still performing at the highest level. So it is only right we continue with that theme and talk about another legendary player. I think even a bigger legend than that Jimmy Anderson guy, and talk about Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Nachiket, I know you have been a massive Dhoni fan ever since he made his debut all the way back in 2004. You have been supporting Chennai Super Kings since 2008. So I think it is only right that I let you take the stage and talk about Mahendra Singh Dhoni. What are your expectations from the big man this season? And first and foremost, I'm sure the listeners will want to know your thoughts on whether the 2024 IPL would be his last one, which is apparently, well, only Dhoni knows. But according to you, what do you think is the situation with him?
Right. So it's been almost 16 years. This is the 16th year we'll be watching the big man in the IPL, but
Yes.
fans of him, cricket fans in general, just can't get enough of him. So
Yeah.
at least more so in the last 5 years because he's been only turning up twice a year or once a year in the tournament. So
Yes.
I guess everyone is eager, and not only the CSK fans and Indian fans, but fans overall in general. For me
Exactly.
personally, I've been right before the T20 World Cup of 2007. I've been a massive, massive fan of his and
Yeah.
followed followed him
Ever
in
since.
almost every
I
match, every team he
Yeah,
plays
I think
for.
there was a really close connection because you have been a wicket keeper for all of your life, and seeing someone as flamboyant and see yourself being a wicket keeper for India and performing so well, I can understand why there's a close connection over there.
Yes, yes. So, and what are my expectations from him?
Yes.
I'll just be happy seeing him marshalling the troops from behind the stumps,
Yeah.
hearing his wisdom from behind the stumps, seeing how the man operates, and being 42, he might not be physically as fit. I'm not too sure about that because I don't think his knee is at a perfect thing. But seeing him operate from behind the stumps and getting a glimpse, last season he just scored around 100, 120 runs, but that
Yes.
was at a very high strike rate, and he came to bat in the
Yeah.
last couple of overs or
So
came in as
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
footer sometimes.
Just to back your points over there, sorry to cut you off. Just a small bit of stats in there. I had written down in my notes. He scored just 104 runs, but you can allow him those many runs because he used to come in at number 7, number 8 sometimes. But he scored at a strike rate of 182, which we haven't seen from Mahendra Singh Dhoni for a couple of years now. So that was something, a bit of revelation, and which caught the imagination of the fans in the stadium and overall watching on the televisions as well.
A sign of a true leader is not only that when he knows that he has to step up, but also
Yeah.
he has to, when he steps behind and lets the others take the center stage, because he knows he
Yes.
can't bat from the 12th over in every game. He can't do that. There are people better suited at this point of time playing international cricket, and he knows he can change a game in the last 5 or 6 balls, but he has been taking that role since the last season and the season before those two, because we saw him struggling with the bat. So he has perfectly got a formula that he'll come in at number 7, come in at number 8, and just play a magical 2 or 3
Yes.
ball knock or 5 ball knocks and hit a couple of them, and his
Yeah.
job will pretty much be that
No,
in batting.
no, now the difference between Dhoni from 2023 and Dhoni from 2024 is he has had that knee surgery now, and he should be relatively more fitter than what he was last season. Do you still expect him to play the similar kind of a role, or do you think there is a possibility that he might just, instead of coming in at number 8, he might see himself coming at number 6 and possibly play like 15 balls instead of just 7? Do you see Dhoni doing it to himself, or do you see that he'll just keep on doing what he's been doing for the last year?
I don't think he's 100% fit. I
Yeah.
personally feel that, and that's just because of one clip that I saw. Everyone was pretty hyped when he came in, checked into the Chennai hotel, and
Yeah.
one thing that I noticed, because I could relate to that because I recently had a knee issue of mine. When he
Yeah.
sat into his car, he didn't put one leg of his in the car first. He sat and then took
Oh,
two of
two
his
feet.
legs.
Yes, yes, yes. I
So
saw that.
he wasn't putting all the body weight on one leg. So
Yeah.
uh, he might have developed a habit of it, but I'm not. I do not think he's 100%. But as you said, uh, he'll be a floater. Sometimes you might see him coming at 2 down when they got a good start, 5 to 6
Yes.
overs are left, and
Yes.
just a couple of wickets have gone down, and he'll come in and he'll not take time to settle in, and he'll just go
Yeah.
for it from ball one because he knows CSK back till number 11. Also,
Yeah.
Tushar Deshpande has got a Ranji Trophy century
Yes.
in his kitty. So they bat deep, and on an average, if you see an ideal playing 11, he'll be batting at number 7, number 8, but he's a floater. He'll come in at 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, depending on the situation.
And the question which we don't want you to answer, but now that you have to do it, last IPL?
According to me, yes. Even last year, when I had discussions with many people, everyone was saying he'll retire, but we don't know whether the mega auctions are officially going to happen or not. But
Yes.
that was always what I thought, that he'll leave before the mega auctions, and he might
Yeah.
not want to be retained and put that amount of money for himself rather than someone who deserves it, according to him. But we want
Yeah.
to play him for years and want to see him play for years and years. But I
That's
do think that this might be his last one.
the amount of love and affection he's being showed across stadiums. It's not just Chepauk where everything is yellow. It's basically wherever CSK play,
Everywhere.
the ground is yellow. So I'm sure like the Indian fans are not allowing him to retire anytime soon, because and there is a bit of rationale behind that, don't you think? Because despite him being 42, I would still say he is the best wicket keeper in this IPL.
Absolutely. There aren't many behind the stumps that would be at a similar level of MS.
Yes.
Of course, there are better technical keepers. There are neat keepers, as you'd say, like Vriddhiman Saha. We have seen
Yes.
Dhruv Jurel in the past couple of months, who's been brilliant. KS
Yeah.
Bharat is brilliant, but not everyone has the street smartness and the reflexes of MS Dhoni.
Yeah.
And pretty much he's the only one in the history of cricket who has been a street smart wicketkeeper. So
Yes.
he's one of the best, and we certainly hope to see many more magical moments in this season.
Yeah, and quickly brushing upon the point which you made early on that there was in 2023 when it was a 50-50 split between people thinking that this might be his final one, and many like you and me were thinking no, he'll still stay for 2024. Last season there were question marks surrounding whether 2025 it will be a mega auction season, but before the start of this tournament, there have been good amount of rumors stating that yes, there will be a big auction coming up in January or late December. And I think I think for him it would be an ideal time to leave CSK behind as as a player. That is what I am thinking. I'm sure he'll stay close to CSK in whatever role or mentorship role which the
Correct.
management can give him, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I think it is an ideal time. If you asked me this question, like when we are into the latter stages of the tournament, when we are approaching the playoffs, I would still want him to continue because I'm sure the amount of love and affection which I have been talking about in this podcast, I think that is going to increase as the tournament progresses. And when it comes close and you are like, oh, CSK has only got a couple of games left, that's the point in time when people will start to realize, oh, this might actually happen.
Right. You never know if his body is with him, if his body is
Yes,
in sync with his mind, he might carry on for a season or two. And being the genius he is, him along with the management will ultimately find out a way. Even if the mega auctions are coming, he'll find out a
yeah,
way to stick with the franchise. Because if he goes into an auction, he might not go for 25 crores. That's an
exactly.
obvious thing, but
Yeah,
he might go for 6, 7 people just for his mind, just for his guidance would pay those sort of money. So if
exactly.
anything, if there isn't any concrete possibility, he might be the fourth retention or the third retention if
Yeah,
he decides to play and
continue.
take a lower
Yeah,
amount in his salary.
yeah, yeah. I think that is a possibility. I'm not saying that is going to happen 100% because we have seen it in the last mega auction. He's not the highest earner in CSK. I think it is Ravindra Jadeja, isn't it, who is at that number one retention slot,
Right,
and then it's
right,
Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I'm not sure what exactly he earns. I'm sure behind the books, I think there are a lot of loyalty bonuses and stuff like that which he's pocketing. But as far as
right.
his salary is concerned, he is the second highest earner in CSK. There is a possibility. I just wanted to talk about Dhoni for one last time before we move on to other players because I'm sure people are aware that he's not the only one playing for Chennai Super Kings. One thing that I wanted to add is he if he wants to be there for the new captain, he can very realistically just say, give me bare amount of money, like the lowest amount of money that a retention player can get. I'll make sure that I groom him for one season and then I leave. Something he did with the Indian team when Virat Kohli was first coming up as a captain, or there is ideally a situation where he's already decided who is my next captain. He probably is in the squad right now, probably in the form of Ruturaj Gaikwad. He's probably already grooming him to become the next captain. So there are some possibilities there as well.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe one reason why he might not have still given the captaincy to him is because he might feel that he needs a season or two more to be groomed.
Yes.
Ideally, he wanted to pass on the captaincy to Jadeja, as we saw in the 21
Yes.
season, I guess, the no, 20
22.
22 season, right?
Yes.
As we saw, but that didn't go as per the plan. So he took back the baton, and I think pretty much everyone is thinking that Ruturaj will be the next captain.
Yes.
Ideally, he should be the next captain because a captain needs to be one of your first names on the team sheet. And in the
Exactly.
next 10 years post the Dhoni era, I think Ruturaj will be there for at least the
Yeah,
next 5 or 6 years. So
yeah,
that makes sense. He's Indian, so there's no problem in that. And ideally, if I guess Faf wouldn't have gone to RCB, he
yeah,
would have been a choice instead of Jadeja. But things did go that way, and I guess he might want to groom him for a season. You can't even rule out that 2 days before the IPL, MS Dhoni announced, CSK announced that Ruturaj is the captain.
yeah,
You never know, because that's how
yeah.
it happened with Jadeja. So you never
Jadeja
know.
situation, yes.
You can't predict anything in Dhoni's way of thinking. So, but fingers crossed, we are hoping he'll be leading,
Yeah,
and we'll get
until
to see a lot.
un,
Yeah,
until and unless he walks out at the toss against RCB on the 22nd of March, you cannot predict anything with Dhoni and
yeah. So
Chennai Super
listeners who
Kings.
are listening to this podcast at the time of
Yes.
recording, he's still the captain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is the 16th of March, and so far he is the captain. Yeah. So
Still 1 week to go.
please don't blame us when he eventually decides to go. So, yeah, I think that was a brilliant start to this podcast. I think we'll take a short break, Nachiket, and once we will back,
Sure.
we'll about the start a discussion about the actual CSK squad and how they could line up in the 2024 IPL. So, yeah, stay tuned, everyone. So yeah, welcome back. We had an incredible discussion about Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and I felt like we had to just cut it short because it could have gone on for another half an hour or so. But we have other players to talk about as well because despite Mahendra Singh Dhoni being the alpha of Chennai Super Kings, there are so many players. Chennai Super Kings is like a jigsaw puzzle for me. There are so many pieces which all align together and they form one big title-winning juggernaut. But Nachiket, despite Chennai Super Kings having so many good players, like we are talking about the likes of Dhoni, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Ravindra Jadeja, there's Mitchell Santner, Moeen Ali, Shivam Dube, Deepak Chahar, you have signed Shardul Thakur, you have got him back from Kolkata Knight Riders. There's obviously the Sri Lankan pair of Tikshana and Pathirana. But the one big problem that Chennai Super Kings have faced, and it is coming even before a ball has been bowled in the IPL, is the injury to Devon Conway. Now, Devon Conway was arguably CSK's best opening player last season, along with Ruturaj Gaikwad. He had some outstanding partnerships. Like you mentioned in the Dhoni segment, there have been games where the pair have played until like 12th or 13th over, which doesn't allow the middle order to come in. That's why you promote Mahendra Singh Dhoni. But he scored 672 runs in the 2023 IPL at an average of 51.7 and a strike rate of 40. You have to replace him. First of all, your thoughts about him missing this tournament?
It's a big miss. It's a big miss because he's a typical CSK player. As we have seen over the years, CSK have got iconic left-handed overseas openers like Matthew Wade and Mike Hussey. So he was carrying on that legacy by being a
Yes.
clutch player, and he had stepped up in the biggest match of the season last time. And I just hope that we get to see him again, as there might be mega auctions, and if he's missing
Yeah.
this season, there's no surety of who's going to be retained. And I just hope we get to see him back. He's not only a miss as a batsman, but he's not been used as a keeper. But you never know. CSK
Yeah.
do not have a proper backup wicket keeper
Backup
in
keeper.
this
Yeah.
in the squad. So they're banking on MS Dhoni playing all games. He'll play all games, but
Yes.
it's always good to have cover. And Conway is a decent keeper. He keeps regularly for New Zealand in limited overs. He'll be a
Yes.
big so because he has been consistent
And
and
he has complemented Ruturaj Gaikwad so very well, like a left hand, right hand opening stand. One of them a flamboyant opener, other one can take his time, but then go on and build his score. So
they
it
they
is,
had
yeah,
developed a great understanding between them.
yes.
Great
This
chemistry
is
between them.
yeah, this is more like Jaiswal and Butler at Rajasthan Royals, like one young, one young opener and being like not trained as in, but supported well by a
It's
senior
it's also
international
good
player.
for up and coming players, like as we mentioned, Jaiswal, to have guidance of Butler in the other
Yeah,
end, and Ruturaj to have
Yeah.
Earlier, he was playing with Faf du Plessis in his first full season as a CSK opener, the one which they won in 21. So
Yes.
that's always a great combination of youth and experience.
Yes. So I think this leads me well to my next question. And I think that question is something which you might have expected me to ask you. And that is, who do you think is the ideal candidate to replace someone like Devon Conway? Now, the easy answer for me is just throw in Rachin Ravindra, a relatively younger player, another New Zealand left-hander who has had a great time in limited overs format and in Test cricket. He scored 200s in ODI in these conditions. He scored a double hundred in a Test match as well. So, do you agree with me? Are you along the same lines here?
Yes, so there are a couple of options, as you mentioned, Rachin Ravindra, who looks the
Yes.
most likely of the replacement, as that would maintain a left-right combination. And a bonus is that he's typically a player that Dhoni would like because he'd always chip in with those overs.
Yes.
So another option would be Ajinkya Rahane, but that would
Yes.
open up the middle order in a way that Ravindra might come at three, or Shivam Dube ideally comes at number 4 or 5.
Yeah. I
So
would I would personally not like Ajinkya Rahane to open because I am sure he's been given that power hitting role in CSK, coming in at number 3 or number 4. He tonks the ball at 160, 70 strike rate, and I don't think you want to take that away from him.
I guess Ravindra will be the best fit according to me,
Yes.
as he'll also add balance as a sixth or seventh bowling option. He's a great
Yes.
bowler, but only one thing that would sometimes restrict Dhoni from using him is someone a lethal left-hander is going around. We have usually seen him protect Jadeja. So
Yes.
there are two slow left armers. So that's the only thing, but he has great balance. So I would ideally want him along with Ruturaj as openers.
And another big New Zealand purchase in the auction was Darrell Mitchell. I think CSK bought him for around 14 crores, if I'm not wrong. So a
Right.
big chunk of wage budget to give to a certain New Zealander. But I think he warrants that price. He's had, once again, similar to Rachin Ravindra, he's had an excellent World Cup and he's been playing at a relatively high standards as far as limited overs is concerned. First of all, is I think I've noticed this time and time again that the price tag doesn't mean that you are going to be a starter. As far as CSK are concerned, we saw that in the last season with Ben Stokes as well. In certain teams, like let's say, I'm not name dropping anyone, but in a team like Punjab, where they have spent so much on a player like Sam Curran, he is always there in the playing 11. Even if Shikhar Dhawan is missed out, he is given the captaincy out of no hands, out of thin air. But in a team like Chennai Super Kings, where everything is so meticulously planned, do you still expect someone like Mitchell to come in and probably replace Moeen Ali? Because similar to Moeen Ali, even Mitchell can give you a few overs here and there.
The one advantage Moeen Ali will have is that first of all he's also been a floater in the batting order, and he can bat anywhere from number 1 till number 8. So
Yeah.
that is a big advantage. And CSK do not have enough off spinners in their squad. So he would be a good option, as Dhoni doesn't use Jadeja a lot against left-handers. So Moeen Ali might be coming into action a lot more. They have Theekshana, but he
Yes.
can bowl everything. He's a mix of everything, and he's not a huge turner of the ball. So I guess he might get a chance, but Mitchell is, I think, the injury to Conway has opened up a place, and I think that
Yes.
before you would like to have a toss up between Rachin and Mitchell, but I pretty much think they both will feature. He might not
Yes.
feature from the first game, and
Yeah.
but I think that number 4 slot or number 5 slot is made up for him. He can negotiate a phase of play, and if a
Yeah.
couple of wickets are in early, rather than Shivam Dube, CSK would much rather have Mitchell in the middle.
Yes. I think I think we have talked about a bit of team permutation combination here. So let's move on and talk about an ideal playing 11 as far as CSK are concerned. Now, like every team in the IPL, a playing 11 is structured around the four overseas player that a team might want to play. Like you said, Rachin Ravindra will open, so there goes one overseas slot.
Right.
I am sure Pathirana, yes, he is having a few injury concerns here and there right
Right.
now, but I'm assuming he's fit enough to play. Is he fit enough to play from the get go?
I've seen a couple of tweets this evening saying that Patirana might miss the first leg. So in that
Oh,
case,
wow.
yeah, so I'm not pretty sure about his availability. But CSK have also signed Mustafizur.
Yes.
I'm not pretty much sure about his availability too, but he's a
Yeah.
pretty good option in case
Yeah.
he's
I think
not there.
he,
So, but
I think
yeah,
a bowler like Mustafizur Rahman really suits a Chennai pitch, a slowish Chennai pitch. He can
right,
come
right,
in and
right.
bowl really good in the death. So
So if
let's get
everyone is fit,
yeah,
if
let's
everyone
get your
is
point.
fit, then my preferred four overseas players would be Rachin Ravindra, Daryl
Yeah,
Mitchell,
yeah.
Theekshana, and Patirana.
Okay, so no Moeen Ali, no Mitchell Santner.
Uh, Unfortunately for Mitchell Sander, this season also he might sit out all the games
Yes,
because for the simple fact that uh, yes, CSK are spin heavy, but three of your international level bowlers are of the same style, slow left arm.
yes.
So Santner is a brilliant bowler. I would play him in every game, almost every game, but the team combination won't allow that.
There
So
are
I guess, yeah,
there are just so many Kiwis in the CSK team. We talked about Conway, Santner, Mitchell, Rachin Ravindra. It's bizarre that they have formed a team in that. I'm sure there's nothing to do with them being Kiwis. It's just the right players which they find and they've just signed them. So now let's include the Indian players and as well, and let's name your 11. You can possibly name a 12th player as well as your impact sub if you want.
right. So ideally, I'd like to open with, as I said, Ruturaj and Rachin Ravindra. After
Huh?
that, one down Ajinkya Rahane, two down Daryl
Yes.
Mitchell, Shivam Dubey and Jadeja to follow. After that, MS Dhoni, Deepak
Yeah.
Chahar, Shardul Thakur, Theekshana and Pathirana.
So Chahar, Thakur, Thikshana, Pathirana, right? And any choice on a impact sub if you would like to
Well, I
bring in
guess
another name?
a team does name 4 to 5 players, right, as impact sub.
Yes.
So I guess see Mukesh Chaudhary will also be
Yeah.
a good option because he's a left-arm pacer. CSK do not have many left-arm pacers, so I guess he'll be in the mix. Samir Rizvi, who is a big buy,
Yeah.
people would expect ideally him in the long term to be a number three, number four batter for CSK. I think we certainly saw a young batsman from Uttar Pradesh being a legend for CSK.
HCS, yes.
So everyone will hope that he does that. So I
There have been a
genuinely hope
few
to see. Yeah,
Yeah, there have been a few CSK fan accounts on Twitter saying he is the right-handed Suresh Raina because of the
right,
similar kind of playing style that they both have. So for those of
right,
you who don't know who Samir Rizvi is, he is averaging 50 in domestic T20 cricket. So that is the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. And he's had a strike rate of around 135, which sounds really well. An average of 50 and a strike rate of 135 is an ideal player that you would like to have in your middle order just after, Ajinkya Rahane and comes in at number four, gives you a bit of momentum in the middle order and can even tonk a few big shots here and there. So he's one of the surprise package, isn't he?
right, right. He
Yeah.
might come in, and he might be thrown in as batsman in the directly in the playing 11 from the first match because
Yeah,
CSK normally doesn't invest very heavily in a unknown talent, and they have done
exactly.
it. They must have seen something that fits their long-term vision. I guess Ajinkya Rahane won't be there for the next season or the season after that. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll be preferring him.
Yeah, so in an ideal scenario, if you personally ask me, I can see someone like Deepak Chahar being taken out and as an impact sub, and then you throw in an extra batter if you're chasing down a target, or in case you are batting first, you put in Samir Rizvi, a player like Samir Rizvi in your playing 11, and where you're coming out to bowl, you can just replace him with Deepak Chahar. Does that make sense?
So we see if I talk about myself, I've left out Tushar Deshpande and Mukesh Chaudhary, right, from
Yes.
the playing 11. But knowing CSK, Tushar Deshpande has been one of the leading wicket takers for CSK last season. He was also in the mix for a purple cap, except the latter
Yeah.
stages. But you might see them coming back. You might see them featuring more. But one thing that changes that particular selection is the selection of Shardul Thakur, and
Yes.
I don't think either of them bat as well as he does, and he's also picked wickets for CSK in the middle overs. Whenever he comes
Exactly.
in, he has a
Yes.
knack of breaking partnerships. He was their leading wicket taker in the 21 season, I guess. So he's one option that has changed the future of these two to an extent for the near future. So I guess we might see Deshpande and Mukesh Chaudhary featuring in, but Samir Rizvi is genuinely a talent I want to see a lot more of. And
Yeah.
talking
Just
about
20 years
Deepak
old.
Chahar being, yeah, talking about Deepak Chahar being used as an impact sub, I don't think that would be the case because even he's a
Okay.
good batter and
Yeah.
they might need his batting and if need be, he might be a good batter for CSK. So
Can you
I think
can you
that
just
someone like that, yeah.
can you remind me who was used as an impact sub last season for CSK?
I
I
guess last season in some of the matches, Shivam Dube was also
Yes.
subbed off, and Tushar Deshpande was brought in his place.
Okay, so
So
they can do something like that as well.
yeah, because Dhoni won't bowl Dube that much, so we might see that trend continue.
Yeah. But to be honest, I don't remember a game where Dubey bowled at all last year. I think he didn't even touch the ball.
Right. Yeah,
And
so
but
I
but
don't
he has
think he
been
has
bowling.
bowled. Yeah,
But he did bowl for India in that Afghanistan series, didn't he? So there is a
yeah, he
possibility
did
that
bowl.
Dhoni might use him, thinking about the World T20, which is just on the horizon after the Indian Premier League. And should a player like Shivam Dube be selected, you would ideally want him to bowl in that circumstances.
Um, but yes, ideally, you'd want him to have a couple of overs, but
Yeah,
the playing 11 of Chennai usually has 7 to 8 bowling options,
exactly.
and so he's not someone who'd use 8 bowling options or 7 bowling
So,
options in a match. Six
some
is pretty much the number that is perfect.
Yeah, sometimes in the CSK team, everyone can bowl apart from Dhoni. Well, even Dhoni can bowl. He's got a ODI
Everyone
wicket to
can
his
bowl and everyone can bat. We
can
also
yeah that
saw Deepak Chahar coming in at number 10, number 11. So anything,
yes.
everyone can do anything.
So yeah, so Nachiket, before we move on to the last segment, we talked about a good 15, 16 players. Can you just recap your ideal playing 11 once again?
Yeah. So my playing 11 would be Ruturaj Gaikwad, Rachin Ravindra, Ajinkya Rahane, Daryl Mitchell, Shivam Dube, Ravindra Jadeja, MS Dhoni, Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur, Theekshana, and Pati Rana. And I guess on pitches that would be more spin friendly, I'd give it a thought to play Moeen Ali instead of Mitchell.
Yes, I think that is one place where there could be a few rotations here and there, because Mitchell is a bit of a medium pacer and Moeen Ali can give you some off spin as well if necessary. So yeah, we've talked about MS Dhoni and we have talked about the whole CSK team as well. So Nachiket, let's take one final break. And when we come back, I'll ask you some straightforward questions, and that would be, what are your expectations of out of this CSK setup? So yeah, stay
Great.
tuned. Welcome back to the final section of this podcast. We'll talk about Nachiket and his expectations from the Chennai Super Kings this season. Now, on paper, there have been so many teams that look stronger than a Chennai Super Kings, because Chennai Super Kings, like I said, is a jigsaw puzzle where everyone contributes to the whole cause. A team like, let's say, Mumbai Indians, they have so many superstars on paper, but there are chances of some frictions here and there in such kind of atmosphere. Not saying there are frictions or there are no frictions, but there is a possibility that could happen. But Nachiket, CSK is such a close knit group that regardless of whoever plays for them, they always perform well. Do you still expect them to do what they did last season? Because not in our short memory, there has been a season 2022 where they didn't live up to their high standards. What are your thoughts heading into the 2024 season?
Of course, I expect them to go all the way because
Yes.
the two or three additions that have made in the auction have been pretty much what issues needed to be addressed. The addition of Thakur brings in an experienced Indian pacer alongside Deepak Chair, because even last time you saw there was a left armor replacement for Mukesh, I guess Akash Singh or something like that. I can't recollect the name.
Yeah.
So there were issues that Tushar Deshpande, yes, he played well, but he leaked a lot of runs, almost 40 runs in every game. So I guess Thakur comes in as an experienced one. Even he has an economy of around 7 to 8 in every game. But
Yeah.
he's a steady head. He even though he hasn't played a World Cup, you can say that he has been part of a World Cup squad. So that
Yes.
brings in a lot of experience. He's in the Indian mix since the last 4 or 5 years.
Yes. Easily. Yeah.
Rachin Ravindra, who is, I guess all of us were surprised that he went so cheaply in the auction.
Yes. Just
And a
six
middle
crores, if
order,
I'm not wrong. Yeah.
exactly. A middle order addition in the form of Daryl Mitchell, who
Yeah.
is capable of playing in any situation and known for his big hits. So I guess there have been 2 or 3 good additions to the squad, and
Yeah.
I feel they can go all the way. On team, many teams on paper are a lot better. You'd say Mumbai Indians have great power hitters. Sunrisers, Hyderabad look a team to beat on paper.
Yes. Yes.
Talking about even Delhi Capitals look good, but KKR also with Shreyas Iyer coming back, they look
Yeah.
good. The one thing I'd like to add why I think that CSK should go all the way is because in every player, if you talk about Kings 11 Punjab, right, you would want your Liam Livingstons to play well, you'd want your Shikhar Dhawans to play well.
Yes.
In a team like Mumbai, you expect Surya Kumar, Rohit, Hardik to perform, Tim David to go after everything. KKR, you expect Russell, Iyer, Rinku Singh, but
Yes.
the speciality about the CSK squad last season was that all 11 contributed. Even in
Yes.
the final, all we hear is Jadeja. Jadeja has done it, but
But
you cannot
Dubey.
forget that right from number one till
Okay.
Jadeja, everyone had contributed because
Yes.
the openers gave a brilliant start. Rahane played a good knock. Raidu played a good knock. Dubey stayed there till the end. Dhoni unfortunately got out on the first ball.
But his
Jadeja
wicket
finished
keeping was
like
class in the final.
exactly that. Who can
Uh,
forget that stumping?
yeah.
So it was pretty much a team effort. Even bowlers, 1 or 2 good spells, except Tushar Deshpande, unfortunately. But players step in. Players you wouldn't expect step in at
Exactly.
crucial situation because they have the backing of the team and they have something to give it back to the franchise for all the faith and trust that they have shown. So I guess they might end up going all the way. But there are, you can't leave any team out of the IPL till the
Yeah. Exactly.
10th match is played.
But I think I saw the CSK preview from Crickbuzz, which was hosted by Harsha Bhogle, and he's said one very good line that in a CSK setup, Mahendra Singh Dhoni has given each and every player a certain role. He doesn't tell you how you have to do that role. He expects you to do that because you are an experienced international level cricketer. That's why you have made it to a Chennai Super Kings team. He doesn't tell you how to do it. He just gives you the role. and the amount of motivation and the backing a player receives, I think that that security, that protection helps a player to perform in a certain manner. We have seen this time and time again, and I think you will agree as well that in a Chennai Super, out of all 10 teams that play in the IPL, CSK's playing 11 stays the same for the majority of the games, something which cannot be said about other 9 teams.
Correct, correct. They'll always show faith in the team that they have decided that we'll start with this team. And unless
Mm.
and until there are any injuries, like we saw in the unfortunate case of Ben Stokes last season.
Yes.
So initially he was going to play all 16 games, but due to his injury, Ajinkya Rahane came in, and once he was set, then
Yeah.
no chance he was getting dropped. And even I was watching the Crickbuzz video that you mentioned by
Yes.
Harsha Bhogle, and in particular, I loved a line he said, and that fits perfectly for CSK. He said it for CSK, and he said that a whole is always greater than sum of the parts. So
Yes.
as I mentioned, everyone will contribute, and not only it's not only reliant on two, three
Yeah.
players. So
It
everyone will
yeah.
contribute.
It is very difficult when a CSK side wins and you have to select like a player of the series or a player of the match, because you find so many nominees that can win that particular award. And
In the
one
finals
thing,
itself, you could
yes,
have given it to three or four players.
who did it eventually go to?
Mitchell,
M- Oh, Mitchell wasn't there.
sorry, Devon Conway, sorry.
Oh, Devon Conway got that. Okay, because there was Shivam Dubey who played really well in that game as well, so he could have been a
Jadeja,
contender.
Dubey, Gaikwad,
Yes.
right?
You know what? I think you didn't notice it or you said it on purpose. I really liked one point you made just a couple of minutes ago. You were talking about Ben Stokes and you said that you expected him to play all 16 matches. Usually, group stage is just 14 matches, and if you top the group or you come second, then you can play 16 matches to win. This is how confident
That's
a
not
CSK
that's
fan
not
is.
see, fans are always confident, but even
Yes,
I was listening to one of Deepak Chahar's interview, right? He has done it. He's a
yes,
player, right?
yes,
So he was talking about that in their team meetings and in their whenever they meet for the camps, right? So right now the camps are going on. They never talk about that we are going to play 14 games or we are planning for 14 games. Their team talks and strategies are always for the 16 games, not even
yes,
17 considering the second qualifier. They
yes,
always say that we are going to play 16 games no matter what. So that sticks with me, and we have
yes, yes, yes.
traditionally seen apart from a couple of seasons they have always qualified in the
Yes,
season that
and yeah, I just pointed that out because I knew that was not the arrogance in you speaking. That was actually the fact. Like if you, and I say this time and time again to the other 9 teams, let's say 8, to be honest. If you want to win the IPL, you have to go through either the Mumbai Indians, and in more recent history, you have to go through Chennai Super Kings if you want to have a successful IPL. Luckily for Gujarat Titans, both Mumbai Indians and CSK had a terrible year in 2022, and they were able to uh, take full advantage of that rare scenario. But eventually, if you want to win the IPL, you have to go through either of those two sides.
even I was I was watching a KKR video this morning of Gambhir giving his speech,
Yes,
and even if you see that video, he's been saying that no matter what, we have to be there on the 22nd of May.
exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah, I did see that. Yes,
he's brought that competitiveness back in the
yeah.
team, and all the champions team always have to plan in that. When I'm sure the likes of Mumbai Indians and CSK always do that.
Yes. So, not assuming, as you said, CSK, you expect them to go all the way. So you are minimum expecting them to make the playoffs. Who are the other 3 teams you think can join Dhoni and his side?
Well, I guess with the addition of Hardik Pandya, Mumbai
Look pretty strong.
pretty much
Yes.
missed a middle order Indian batsman and a genuine Indian all rounder, and they had
Yes.
one piece missing, and they have
Bumrah is back.
added Bumrah is back, of course. So I guess Mumbai Indians, CSK, after that KKR, because I think Iyer coming back,
Yeah.
that Indian middle order core of Rinku Singh, Nitish Rana, Shreyas Iyer. So we might get to see Venkatesh Iyer batting at his preferred position of opening.
Yes.
So with Gambhir coming back, You
They
can
look like,
never
yeah.
count him out, despite him being only a mentor. But and the fourth one always is a challenging one because I have three teams in mind, and Lucknow, both the seasons they have made the playoffs, right?
Yes.
You can't count them out. Nicholas Puran might play one of the best seasons
Yeah. Marcus Stoinis,
he has
good
ever
player.
played. Stoinis hooked up. They form a
Bishnoi.
great
Yeah.
finishers role. RCB again they do not have the most glamorous bowling attack, but their batting order can win you 5 to 6 games
On its own. Yeah.
itself. So if luck favors them, they might get in there. And another team, wild card, I would say, is SRH because
Yes.
with the addition of Cummins, they have a pretty
Yeah.
great balanced team. So they always not
Yeah.
worked out for them, but I do think they can make it to the playoffs
There,
this season.
there are these 5 or 6 teams who can beat anyone on who can beat each other on any given day. There's a big cluster in the form of KKR, LSG, RR. There's as you mentioned, whom did you mention? RCB
SRH, Lucknow,
and
RCB.
SRH. Yeah, these are the
See,
teams that
we have not even mentioned a team that has come that has made it to the finals in the last couple of seasons. Gujarat.
yeah, Gujarat
Anyone can
exactly.
make it.
Yeah, but
Anyone
but
can
you
make
know
it.
what? Despite me as a KKR fan saying that anyone can make it, I for once have accepted the fact that Chennai and Mumbai would be there, and your team would be battling with other 8 teams for that remaining 2 slots in the end. Because we have seen this time and time again that the IPL, the points table goes down to the final game, that too requiring net run rate situation because most of the teams are on that 14 to 16 point margin towards the end. That's the beauty of
Exactly,
the IPL in the end.
exactly.
Yeah, so Nachiket, I think we have covered all the points that needed to be covered for this preview. Well, we wanted to talk about CSK, but we ended up spending the last 10 minutes talking about the IPL in general. So I can put IPL preview in the title as well. So I don't need to record another episode for the same. I'll just make sure to put that, there's the timestamps on YouTube videos where you can say that from minute 44 to 46, it's the IPL preview. They can just click on that and listen to
Correct.
that. So, yeah, any closing thoughts from your side?
No, I just hope that we get to see an IPL season that was as good as last season because I think
Yes.
even you would agree that it was one of the best seasons that we have ever seen.
Outstanding.
So I guess with a couple of interesting additions in some of the teams, we might
And
get to see.
to be honest, CSK, Dhoni, and the fans had made it an even more spectacular season by wearing those yellow shirts and supporting him all around. I
It
think
was not,
those,
yeah, it wasn't easy going to watch the finals that had gone, and you
yes,
had to, for 2 days out of 48 hours for 20, around 20 hours or let's say 15, 20 hours, I was in the stadium. So
exactly, yes,
just traveling, being in the
yeah.
stadium. So it was a brilliant experience. It
So
made the
so
final moment worth it.
before we wrap things up, so you are saying you will be at the Mumbai versus Gujarat game next
Gujarat,
weekend,
yes,
and
yes.
any other games that you want to go and see?
Well, of
Like a
course,
plan?
I want to see a couple of CSK games too. Of course, that's the first priority.
Yeah,
But as the only half of the schedule has come out, this is one of the
yeah,
games that everyone will look forward to: Gujarat versus MI, Hardik versus Gujarat,
exactly,
and how MI will pan out after all the controversies that are going on. How will
exactly, yes.
they react on the field? So it's one of the most spicy encounters of the next weekend. And of course, Gujarat versus CSK is also one of the games that I'd like to see. And probably, if everything goes right, even I'd want to head over to Wankhede for a CSK MI game.
Oh, that would be classic. And why not even try and go to Chepauk for once? Because that would be another spectacle in its
That would
own.
be a dream. Let's
Yeah,
see how the
yeah.
fixtures pan out.
So, by the way, for those of you who have stuck this far into the podcast, we are like 49 minutes in. As things stand, there have been rumors stating that the entire Indian Premier League will be played in India, despite there being general elections in about 2 months' time. But yeah, fingers crossed, we don't have to go to UAE and play on those kind of pitches where the toss decides the game. Hopefully, everything is played in India and we have a magnificent tournament. Thank you, Nachiket, for joining in.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon in this IPL. Hopefully we'll
We'll
record a
see.
podcast when we eventually win, when you eventually win the IPL yet again.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah,
We'll do a review podcast of why CSK won.
yeah, exactly. And we'll have a special episode saying thank you, Mahendra Singh Dhoni as well. So hopefully you guys stay tuned to the Cricket Corner podcast. A lot of content will be thrown at your way over the course of the next couple of months. I'm super excited. Nachiket, as you have heard or saw it on YouTube, is amazingly excited as well. So we hope to see you soon in the next episode. Thank you and bye bye.